Another picture-perfect day on the French Riviera as the fabled streets of the Principality ready themselves to host our second race of the weekend. Late drama yesterday saw contact in the fight for the podium. That fight will become the battle for the lead down into the opening corner as Ticktum and Da Costa will lead the field away from the front row. You're listening to live and exclusive radio coverage of the ABB Formula E World Championship, Motorsport's premier all-electric single-seater racing category here on talkSPORT 2 and the Formula E app as we get ready to go racing once again. It's myself, Lewis McGlade, in the booth. Cameron Roger joins me again. It's for round 10 of season 12 and the 28 laps of the second of our 2026 Monaco E-Prix. It's redemption day for Dan Ticktum. After crossing the line in third yesterday, he had that podium stripped away from him, passed over to his teammate Pepe Marti, who grabbed his first career podium. Ahead of them, it was a great performance from new championship leader Mitch Evans to second place, and for Nick de Vries, it was a first victory in over 4 years and a first victory for Mahindra in the Gen 3 era. There's no pit stop to talk about today, just a relatively straightforward race to the checkered flag, a lap shorter than yesterday, and plenty of drama ahead, I'm sure. Qualifying is already complete, so let's go through the starting grid from back to front. Zane Maloney will be starting from 20th position. Lucas Di Grassi will be starting alongside in 19th for the Lola Yamaha app team that lock out the final row. Nick Cassidy in 18th, and then it's Sebastian Buemi, whose last victory came around this circuit last year. He'll start from 17th. Joel Eriksson will start from 16th, alongside Nick de Vries, yesterday's race winner. Pascal Wehrlein in the 100th race for Porsche will start from 14th, alongside Jake Dennis, with Maximilian Gunther starting from 12th. Nico Müller drove into his teammate yesterday, will be starting just outside the top 10 with 11th for the Porsche team. Pepe Marti will start just inside the top 10 after his first podium in Formula E yesterday. He started from 15th to get to that one. What can he do from inside the top 10? Norman Nato for Nissan will start from 9th alongside him. A world champion, Ollie Rowland, will start from 8th position, whose only points finishes this season have come from podium finishes. He'll be starting alongside the championship leader, Mitch Evans, who's just stolen that away for the first time in over a year. Taylor Barnard's first race point in Monaco came yesterday. He'll be starting from 6th position. With a PB finish from Felipe Drugovich, he'll be rolling off of 5th today. Then it's Jean-Eric Vergne searching for his first victory in 3 years. He'll be starting alongside Edo Mortara, who failed to qualify yesterday, so thankfully he's done a little bit better today, up to 3rd position for him. And as I mentioned earlier, the front row of the grid, they had contact in the dying moments of yesterday's races. Antonio Felix Da Costa was starting from 2nd, and alongside him, he's the 2nd driver only to get consecutive pole positions here on the streets of Monte Carlo. It is Dan Ticktum. Sebastian Buemi, the other driver, by the way, on that one. Redemption day, Cameron Roger, for Dan Ticktum. The disappointment largest pole margin this
pure hatred and frustration after yesterday. Let's hope that calms down when we get to turn 1, because the car next to him on the grid, as you say, is Felix Da Costa, the car he made that very contact with, and also on his left-hand side, the same side that they made the contact. But I'm looking forward to see what he can do. He's already got 1 race win to his name, but let's see what he can do this time out.
We're expecting it to be a little bit more racy this afternoon. Yes, they are running a lap shorter, but they are also running slightly. It's the same energy as yesterday, but obviously they technically have 10% less because there is no pit stop where they recharge the car. So as much as 1 lap shorter, they technically have less energy to play with over the entire race, meaning efficiency is going to be critical here today. But because of that lack of pit stop, because of the attack mode, I think this is going to get quite aggressive around the halfway point of this 28-lap race.
And with everyone backing each other up, saving that energy, they then have to take the attack mode twice, so they're going to have to then be very strategic when they take that, because you'll lose at least 2, 3, 4 positions by taking the attack mode.
28 laps ahead of us. The cars have rolled forward. They are in their starting boxes, and we are getting ready for the second race on these fabled streets. We always love racing on the streets of Monte Carlo. There is no better place to host a motorsport event. It's been hosting racing for nearly 100 years, and once again we'll be racing at Monaco. The Monaco E-Prix is go, with Dan Tickton leading off from pole position. He had a perfect start yesterday, and he's had a perfect one today. He will lead into the opening corner of Saint-Devote, keeping Antonio Felix da Costa behind. Edo Mortara still remains ahead of Jean-Eric Verne as they start to go single file for the top 5 up the hill. It is, though, Mitch Evans trying to make the move on Taylor Barnard, and he does sneak his way through and up into 6th position. So for Jaguar TCS Racing, at least one position has been gained in the race start, but it was not from Antonio Felix da Costa, who will sit behind Dan Tickton, who seems to crawl his way through Casino Square, already taking the time to save the energy as he saw yesterday.
Yeah, everyone keeping it fairly calm, but we are starting to see a small move there down the inside from Drugovic in towards Mirabone. That's going to turn to the outside for the Hotel hairpin. He might be able to get 4th position, but he goes a little bit too deep, and the Citroen driver's going to be able to hold on to that one for now, but they squeeze their way through as they come through Portier 1, and as we come through the tunnel, it's going to be Verne in 4th place. Yeah,
Verne just about keeps Felipe Drugovic at bay. Mitch Evans nearly had the opportunity to go from 6th up to 5th position, starting this race from 7th. The new championship leader needs to keep his nose clean. Down to the Nivelle chicane, which caused so much drama yesterday. Dan Tickton will stay in the race leader. Look to the outside, coming in from Jean-Eric Verne. He will sneak his way around, and there's a spinner! Antonio Felix da Costa has been sent round as Edo Mortara and Jean-Eric Verne were doing battle for 3rd position. There is a spin coming in, and Antonio Felix da Costa, who scored no points yesterday, has no luck at the Nivelle chicane. He drops down to 15th position. I think his car's okay, but that tag will send Jaguar TCS Racing, I'm sure, straight to the stewards to be like, what just happened?
After winning 2 races on the bounce in Jeddah and Madrid, he's only scored 1 point in the 3 races after that, and now this might be another pointless race for him. He has rejoined in 15th position though, so he might be able to jump up there, but it's not the race start that he would have wanted. There's always contact as we come through the final corner as well, as which seeing the Andretti car, they have some problems.
Max Gunther was dropping back for DS Penske as well, now down to 13th position. He was going side by side a little with Jake Dennis. Ahead of all of that, Ollie Rowland for 7th was going side by side with his teammate Norman Nato. Not sure what was happening there. That was going through the corner of Antony Noakes. Said yesterday, the top 12, no one switched positions on the opening lap. Because of Antonio Felix da Costa dropping down to now 16th position, pretty much everyone in the top 12 has changed position somewhat. Dan Tickton and all that has dropped down into 3rd, and Edo Mortara at the completion of the 1st lap has become your race leader. At the moment, it's Mortara from Verne, from Tickton, from Drugovic, from Evans, the top 5. Antonio Felix da Costa went for a spin. Cameron Roger, what happened?
Well, it was a double move really, so Mortara was trying to get as close to the back of him as he could to prevent Verne overtaking. This is down into the Nouvelle chicane on that 1st lap. Verne is on the outside, they're side by side through the apex, and they just tag the back of da Costa. It wasn't a big hit, but when he's already turning, that just sent his car into a spin.
Kind of got caught on the rain light on the rear end of the car, so you might see it if you watch Formula 1, when obviously it gets into those deep rainy conditions, you can see that light flashing on the rear end. That kind of sticks out quite a lot on the rear of the car, and obviously if you imagine the nose of the car, which also protrudes a little bit from the front, those 2 parts came together. Antonio Felix da Costa went for a spin. Do you know what? I can genuinely see that coming from race control as a racing incident.
I agree. I don't think they necessarily did anything wrong. Verne and Mortara, they were battling for space. They were side by side, front wheel to front wheel, going for a tight chicane, and neither of them were going to give an inch. And it wasn't like they absolutely punted da Costa off. It was just a bit of a tag, as you say, getting caught on the rain light. Not exactly what they would have wanted, but as we come to start another lap, Mortara's leading by almost 2 seconds.
Yeah, Mortara's definitely running a different energy mode at the moment, a different energy strategy than those behind as he starts to check away. The disappointment for him yesterday was looking really good in free practice 1 and free practice 2. Went into qualifying, and a technical issue meant the Mahindra could not go out onto the race circuit. Knowing how fast he is, he's definitely wanting to put that one to bed. Just as a note, though, that is under investigation from race control. So Edo Mortara and Antonio Felix da Costa, that incident you were just talking about, Cam, that is under investigation from race control. We've completed 2 laps. We have 26 left to go. Edo Mortara is your leader by 1.7 seconds. He's starting to clear away, but we do know these gaps, they ebb and flow so much. And as much as one car will run away for a moment, that car will essentially be dragged back in by the rest of the field. Behind Mortara, it's Verne, Tickton, Drugovic, Evans, Barnard, then Rowland, Nato, Dennis and Pepe Marti, the top 10.
It's not as much of a condensed front of the field here that I was expecting. I was expecting the leaders to really back everyone up. They're actually separating quite a lot. And as you're mentioning, Lewis, because we don't have that pit boost, we effectively have 10% less energy, but only 1 less lap. Here's Mortara.
We need to massively under consume.
so he went out too fast. We need to massively under-consume is what his engineer was telling him, so that means you've gone out too fast, mate.
1.6 seconds, he was faster than those behind the previous lap. We said the gap was around 1.7, going up towards 2 seconds. At the completion of the third lap of the race, that gap is now his last victory in the NBFA Formula E World Championship. Now sits 3/10 rear of the Swiss driver of Edo Mortara, the 3-time pole sitter in season 12.
Coming through Casino, very, very slow up the hill that time round, so Mortara definitely changing his strategy as he went out too hard. And what this has done is he's brought the top 6 cars now going down to Bernard, all up behind him as he come down into the hairpin. Then we're going to include in P7, P8 the 2 Nissans of Roland and Nato as well, just backing everyone up. So for a minute there, it was stretching out, but just 1 lap later, it changes around as they work their way through the hotel hairpin. We saw Marty there up the inside of Dennis, trying to make his way up the inside of Gunther, I should say, making his way in towards 10th place, but Gunther holds on. So it's Gunther in 10th and Marty in 11th.
And interestingly, Nico Müller in 12th position is in attack mode. He's taken it going through Casino Square, sits in 12th position directly ahead of his teammate Pascal Wehrlein. The two of them had a difficult day yesterday, didn't they, for Porsche? They both made contact. Nico Müller into the rear end of his teammate Pascal Wehrlein into Le Rascasse, where obviously there's plenty of celebrations that were happening after. We were wisely informed there was a nightclub that Jonas may or may not have gone to. He was definitely talking about earlier on. But alas, there was a little bit of contact going down to that penultimate corner. Nico Müller will be trying to work his way through. Edo Mortara has just been given a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. So that will certainly impact his Mahindra's race. He's our race leader at the moment from Dan Ticktum, who's just got past John-Eric Byrne, who's now closing up, going up into the opening corner at Saint-Nevot. No switch coming in, but a 10-second time penalty. Do you think that's fair? I think it's, I get it.
Yeah, so we've said it may be more towards a racing incident, but I guess he is the one who still caused that collision. Nico Müller up the hill. He's on the attack mode. He's already got 1 past Gunther. Now he's going to be getting Dennis as well. He's now up behind the 2 Nissans into 8th position. He's got Bernard lastly as well. So there's 2 positions that he's gained, and now trying to make his way forward after having a bit of a slow couple of laps. He's now trying to go on the attack and down in towards the hairpin. He's trying to get Nato here on the inside. But
he has no room to move. As much as you've got attack mode, which gives you 50 extra kilowatts of power, it's roughly equivalent to, what is it, 70 brake horsepower, 75 brake horsepower extra, and all-wheel drive. As much as he has that to his disposal, he's not really got the room to manoeuvre. He's found his way past Norman Nato, now sits in 7th position, onto the rear end of Mitch Evans. Cannot use too much of the energy, though. Has to still be careful as he's going to go and mount the curb on the right-hand side, going through the Nivelle chicane. He's trying to pitch his way past the championship leader. Does find his way through, but a debris being flicked off the front end of Felipe Drugovic's car in 4th. Nico Müller runs in 6th, now finds his way through into 5th, going through to back the left-hander into the swimming pool section where everything becomes single file and very narrow indeed. Nico Müller in the 51 Porsche in their 100th race in the ABFA Formula E World Championship is scything his way through the field. Now looks to the left-hand side as they come down into Le Rascasse. Picks off 1, picks off 2. He gets to the outside of John-Eric Byrne. Will now find his way into the final corner, but can't quite get past the Frenchman. Up to 4th position for Nico Müller. Now with the superior power coming out of the final corner, he will find his way past the Citroen. He'll find his way past the Cupra Giro. And up into 2nd position comes Nico Müller as the yellow flag's been displayed at the final corner.
This must be a record for most overtakes in a lap, and legitimately that is absolutely remarkable. It's Nato who's the one. He's gone down into P20. We're just saying that he was being overtaken there at the hairpin on the previous lap in about 8th position. He's now at the back, so there must have been an issue. It looks like he's in pit lane actually on the track map, so there must have been some sort of issue, and he's come straight down pit road.
I don't think he's actually come into pit lane. I think the issue has him stationary, potentially on the start-finish straight. We'll get an update from race control from Matt Kanaszewski, our race director, to see what the situation's going to be on that one. But Nico Müller's flown his way up to the race lead. He's got 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go of attack mode, but he can't really use too much of it, really, because obviously it's going to burn too much energy. Yellow flag once again is displayed, and that is on the start-finish straight. So they're trying to extract Norman Nato's Nissan, at least from where it is, maybe get it restarted and maybe get it sent. They're actually bringing it back into pit lane, and unfortunately it will be a retirement for the Frenchman. He is back into to pit lane. They've pushed him back in, so hopefully we'll avoid the usage of a safety car. He had contact there with, I believe, Taylor Barnard in the number 77 DS Penske into the final corner.
And it was a big hit, so it's 2 by 2 in towards the final corner. If you know how tight it is here at Antinous, then definitely you'll know the situation wasn't going to end well. So it's actually Nato who's trying to go around the outside of the number 9 and Mitch Evans. Then that opened up the door for Barnard. He gets a big contact on the rear left. I think it breaks the drive shaft or something on the back because he's not doing the speed that he would have wanted down the start-finish straight. He obviously then stopped to pit exit, and they were able to push him back down pit exit.
I don't know about you, Cam. I think I might have seen the replay. Antonio Felix da Costa, I think, had something very similar. Here's Norman Nato.
He lost the car and touched my wheel and put me in the water.
Yeah, Nato, they're saying it was very unnecessary, the contact. I mean, they were going for the race, for the position, I should say, in that final corner, and it is under investigation as it stands. We'll have to find out if that is going to come to anything, because, I mean, there definitely was contact made. Have to just judge if Bernard was the one at fault for that. Muller still leads at the front as he now has less than a minute to go of his first attack mode. So everyone else behind hasn't used it. Actually, Joel Eriksson now is the second car to come onto that. But everyone else at the top positions, they are still running normal power.
Yeah, but obviously you say about attack mode. What is it? How does it impact this race? What do they have to do with it?
So there's 2 attack modes this time. So you've got 8 minutes. You can either separate it 4 and 4 or 2 and 6 minutes. Muller took 6 minutes in his first opportunity, so that's why he was able to come to the front. He had it for so long, so he's got to take it again. Every time you take the attack mode, you have to go to a specific part of the track. On the outside of the casino corner, it is this time around. You'll lose 2 or 3 positions, but then, of course, you'll have the extra power. So everyone has to do it, and it's sort of like a little joker lap that they have to take twice.
Indeed, and it does give you that extra power which you can use to side your way through the field like Nico Müller did, like Joel Eriksson is doing now. Past Antonio Felix da Costa up into 15th position. We have completed 7 laps. We have 21 left to go of the 28. Fastest lap and current race leader Nico Müller leading by 1.7 seconds as attack mode runs out. Taylor Barnard's just been given a 10-second time penalty for contact between himself and Norman Nato at the final corner that we were mentioning earlier. There's a few drivers are starting to come through attack mode. I'll very quickly take a deep breath and roll you through the top 10. Nico Müller is the race leader. Edo Mortara has a 10-second time penalty, but currently runs in second. Dan Tickton runs in third. Jean-Eric Byrne in fourth. Ollie Rowland in fifth. And then it's Felipe Drugovic, Mitch Evans and Taylor Barnard in 8th position with another 10-second post-race time penalty. Jake Dennis and Max Gunther round out the top 10. Those coming into attack mode, we've got Pepe Marti in 12th position. He's taken 4 minutes of his attack mode, as has Sebastian Buemi in 15th. Joel Eriksson in 14th position also has taken 4 minutes of attack mode, but he took it a lap early, so only has 2 minutes left to go. The other driver in attack mode at the moment, 19th position, it's Lucas de Grassi for the Lola Yamaha Act team. Sebastian Buemi will find his way through and up into 14th place, getting past the race winner of yesterday, Nick De Vries, down in just 15th position. Disappointment for Mahindra. They might be walking away with this race from no points.
They probably will, actually. De Vries a bit disappointing considering he was so strong in qualifying yesterday as well, but he's now down in 15th place. Mortara with a 10-second penalty is at best going to get a couple of points. I don't think he'll be able to get a top 5 with that, so that is a big, big shame. But we are lap 9 of 28, so we are coming up towards the 3rd race distance now, and Müller is looking fairly good at the front, but of course now he's saving, everyone is catching him back up.
Yeah, it's like I say, some of those close moments and close moves as another position picked up from the envision of Joel Eriksson past Pascal Wehrlein, the season 10 champion. Into attack mode comes Mitch Evans, and he's taken 6 minutes. Here's Nick De Vries on the radio. Well, you may not have heard that. He said, so we still need to be patient here. Cassidy is running slightly more energy. But yes, we didn't quite hear Tom Bales there, the engineer of Nick De Vries, but he was certainly giving some strategy advice to yesterday's race winner and playing the long game, which is sometimes easier said than done. Evans has taken 6 minutes of attack mode, as I was saying, so he's only going to have 2 minutes later on. Evans runs in 9th position, he's the championship leader. At the moment, as things stand, Pascal Wehrlein's not scoring any points. I believe he would still remain as the championship leader. Someone's just gone right off the racing line and they're running towards the back. Got very close to the barrier as plenty of dust was thrown into the air. And energy-wise, everyone's running pretty decent numbers, although I will say a race leader about 2% down on those behind.
Yeah, NG reveal 70% for most cars, but it's 69 for Muller and 71 for a couple of drivers like Ollie Rowland, Drugovic, etc. at about 5th and 6th position. But here and there, it's only 1%. So for now, that is not too big of an issue. Evans is making some more moves as he works his way past Bernard. He's now up the back of Drugovic in towards turn 1. So he's now in 7th position. Drugovic is going to be 6th. He's going to have this one easily up the hill as well. So that's going to be another position. So the attack mode is very, very powerful around this track. But of course, it depends when you use it. So he's using it at a time when no one else has it. If you take it at the same time as everyone else, you just have the same power.
Edo Mortara's right onto the rear end of Nico Muller once again for the race lead. Mitch Evans is finding his way through into 5th as he looks to the outside of Ollie Rowland, but couldn't quite do anything, could not find his pathway through. Nico Muller's on the radio. Let's see what he has to say. So the just follow beeps. What does he mean by following beeps?
So in their ears, they will have a beep as to when they're supposed to lift, etc. It will be a pre-programmed sort of timing system, so they'll know how much regen to do. So they have, as I say, they have beeps in their ears that they kind of need to follow. It's a way of helping them, because otherwise there's no consistency. They'll just be lifting and coasting at random points. But with these beeps, it's a thing that the engineers will be able to set, so they have a plan. If you say just follow the beeps, it will burn on the radio first.
So the same energy as the guys in front of us, and 1% more than Muller is leading.
So it's 1% more than Muller, as we were saying, so it's not really too much of an issue. But yes, follow the beeps just means let's go to the plan. Don't worry about your track position for now. Let's just make sure we have this energy number to attack later in the race.
Indeed. Race lead very close. It's Edo Mortara on the rear end of Nico Muller. Nico Muller being told about the energy numbers, how he needs to be saving a little bit more. Mitch Evans, though, is finding his way through. He's powering up the hill towards Massenet. He fixed his way past Edo Mortara in 2nd position and straight around the outside of the race leader. It's a fantastic move from Mitch Evans. He's used attack mode to find his way to the top step. At the moment, just about clearing going into Casino Square. It's Jaguar TCS Racing of Mitch Evans, the World Championship leader, now heading the field on the streets of Monte Carlo.
It certainly is, because he is on that attack mode and he's made it into a really good timing, because he took 6 minutes, so 4 of them are gone. He's got 2 minutes left now to get a lead at the front now, even if he doesn't pull away. I mean, similar to Nico Muller. Nico Muller got a 2-second lead, but then backed it up. But he at least got that track position, going from about 9th position up into 1st, which is very, very crucial. When we get to the 2nd attack mode later on, you want to position yourself very nicely indeed. As we're seeing the up and down, where Evans is up 6 positions from his grid, Muller is up 9 positions in 1st and 2nd.
Jake Dennis trying to get to the outside. He's got attack mode, has Jake Dennis. He's getting to the outside, going into back. He's trying to get himself inside the top 10. They had quite a large moment going through the swimming pool section, but Max Gunther's not close enough to pounce onto the rear end of the Season 9 champion. So Jake Dennis will hold on to 11. The gap for the race lead heads out to 1 second. Energy numbers, the best in the top 10 at the moment is Ollie Rowland, running in 6th position. Of course, you know, he's well versed with getting a solid result onto the board, and there was a bit of damage on the rear end of Pepe Marti's car. I was taking a look at that a little bit earlier on, that he's clearly been hit on the rear end because his rain light's been disconnected from the rear, and I do wonder if race control might suggest that would be a meatball flag. It's a black flag with an orange disc, which means you need to come in for a mandatory repair of the car, or rather to take that bit off, because it could fall off at any point.
And the front left corner of his front wing section is also flapping around. We did see this yesterday, though, from Sebastian Buemi was driving around in yesterday's race with that front wing flapping. And Nico Muller, even with no front wing at all, and the steward seemed okay with that for now. So I think as long as it's not flapping on, falling off, they should be okay to go on. Live championship standings leaves Evans with a humongous lead of 34 points over Edo Mortara as it stands. This race is really going his way, and that's not including the fact that Mortara has a penalty to come.
Yeah, I mean, 2 drivers in the top 10 have penalties. We've completed 11 laps. We've got 17 left to go. It's Taylor Barnard in 8th position, now 9th position with a 10-second post-race time penalty, and Edo Mortara in 3rd with a 10-second post-race time penalty. Your race leader at the moment is Mitch Evans by 2.1 seconds for Jaguar TCS Racing. Porsche's Nico Muller will run in 2nd position. The pair of those two have taken their first usage of attack mode, and that was 6 minutes away. They both have 2 minutes left to go of their attack mode, but having used that, having already fired that shot off, maybe it's not so ideal. Jake Dennis will move his way up into 5th position, getting past Jean-Eric Verne. At the moment, the top 10 race order. Deep breath, here we go. Mitch Evans, Nico Muller, Edo Mortara, the top 3. Dan Ticktum in 4th, then Dennis and Verne. Let's go to Muller's radio first.
Shall I not let Edo try and keep the gap or close the gap? It's fine with us. It's fine with us if you want to. Second penalty, you might be interested in keeping the pace up.
So conversations there between Nico Muller and his race engineer Maris Meyer-Diedrich, just trying to basically strategize their way through this. They've got Edo Mortara directly behind him. The gap's grown to 2.7 seconds for the race lead, and so they get a little bit of frustration coming in from Nico Muller, the Berlin winner, maybe not understanding what's going on.
In the background, we've got Drugovic making moves. So both the Andretti's are on their attack mode. They're making moves. Dennis up to 4th place. Drugovic now up to 6th and is trying to get behind Dan Ticktum, who's been a little bit quiet in the last 5 laps or so. And he's actually got past Dan Ticktum now through the tunnel down in towards the Nouvelle Chicane. So he's up into 5th place. So Andretti moving forward. And it looks like Mortara's doing good, considering he hasn't taken that attack mode just yet in that 3rd position. So I guess if you're further back, you want to use the attack mode early to get that track position. But if you're towards the front, you want to keep your track position for long enough so you can use the attack mode later once everyone else has used theirs, and you'll get a free pass.
Felipe Drugovic obviously fresh off of that PB performance yesterday, scoring a fantastic 4th place finish on the road. Obviously that was after a penalty for Dan Ticktum. Attack for 2nd position as Edo Mortara is going to fire one down the inside of Nico Muller in the opening corner at Sandefjord. Despite that 10-second post-race time penalty, he's still going on the attack, and Felipe Drugovic pieces his way through it perfectly, and the Andretti will come through into 2nd position. Absolute wonder kid Felipe Drugovic there. Edo Mortara was getting aggressive. Nico Muller down to 4th position. He was sending questions to the team and now has paid the price.
This is amazing how much the attack mode is really changing the order of this race. Drugovic was 5th at the start of this lap and now into 2nd place, as the replay is going to show that, I mean, Muller was already on the apex. Mortara pushed his way through there in turn 1, and then around the outside comes Drugovic past the pair of them as they're slow going up the hill. That
was a touring car move if ever I saw it. I did suggest there might have been some contact going into turn 12. Wasn't sure what it was, but what I was going to say, there is a moment under investigation between Sebastian Buemi and Max Günther. I thought that might have been what I was seeing maybe in the background, but no, it wasn't. Sebastian Buemi was way out wide in the attack of Jake Dennis, cuts back in at the Grand Hotel hairpin. As he cuts back in, Max Günther's already there. He pops up basically on the 2 wheels, straight back down onto all 4, and keeps on going. But I'm sure Max Günther won't be too happy with that. He's definitely going to have some front wing damage after that, as I'm sure Sebastian Buemi might have some suspension damage. Either way, that one is under investigation from race control.
Yeah, a little bit awkward for Buemi there because he was going wide, then trying to almost get a cutback, but then of course you have to, you know, if you open up the door, someone's going to go down the inside there. So we'll see what comes with that one. Side by side in towards the 1st corner. We've got Jeb on the outside, Jake Dennis on the inside, and Jeb goes all the way around the outside for 5th position. He's on the attack mode, and now he works his way up the hill. Everyone's lifting and coasting, but he's going to catch up to Nico Muller, who's now dropped down into 4th position, with Mortara in 3rd, Drugovic in 2nd. They've all caught up to Evans at the front.
There is a look to the outside 5th position at the moment for Jean-Eric Verne, trying to get through into 4th on Nico Muller. He's in attack mode at the moment, and that's 40 seconds left to go of it. A 5-second post-race time penalty has now been dished out to Max Günther, so we have 3 drivers on the grid with post-race time penalties, just trying to make life very complicated for me and Cam in the commentary booth. We're about halfway through the race, 14 laps complete, 14 laps left to go, and everyone's around the 50% mark on energy. It's Mitch Evans, the race leader, Felipe Drugovic behind by half a second, searching for his first victory in Formula E with no usage of attack mode, with just one rather usage of attack mode at the moment from Felipe Drugovic. And then Mortara sits in 3rd position, then it's Nico Muller, then Verne, then Dennis, then Barnard, then Roland Ticktum and Sebastian Buemi, the top 10. At the moment in attack mode is Jean-Eric Verne in 5th position, he's just about to run out. Also, it's Taylor Barnard in 7th, he's got a minute 30 left to go, and Dan Ticktum down to 8th position, but he went down that order as he was going into attack mode. 3 minutes left to go for him, and 14 laps left to go of the race.
Edo Mortara in 3rd place still hasn't taken that attack mode. That is really, really good, as Dan Ticktum now is on it. So let's see how we do. We work our way down this front straight away, side by side, actually, with Jake Dennis losing a position. Contact with Bernard. Dennis has to go over the curb in turn 1. He's going to keep that position, but Bernard is on the attack mode and should have the power up the hill.
Yeah, drag race as they come up towards Massenet. It's Jake Dennis who's just keeping Dan Ticktum at bay, but Dan Ticktum Tickton with now the power as they rise the way up. A bit of a squeeze towards the apex of Massenet, and could not find his way through. So Jake Dennis will drop down now to 8th position. Dan Tickton up to 7th. Taylor Barnard's trying to find his way further up. He's got side-by-side directly ahead of him in the form of the Citroën of Jean-Eric Verne, and of course the Porsche of Nico Muller. They're all getting stacked up a little bit behind third place Edo Mortara, who's still yet to take his first use of attack mode, but of course he's got a 10-second post-race time penalty, so effectively speaking he's out of this kind of relatively speaking, but they're playing the long game here because they want Edo Mortara to use his attack modes late to try and build that 10 seconds late, because they can still score decently here with the Mahindra of Mortara, who's now just taken over second place, getting past Felipe Drugovich.
Yeah, they're still in a pretty good position, and look how congested this is getting, actually. So everyone is backing up once again. There's damage flying for a few cars around there. It's getting a bit chaotic, and they're still in second place without using the attack mode. So they are in a very, very good position right now. So I think they're just going to have to sit there and wait and bide their time. As for a 10-second penalty, we'll have to find out what the gaps are going to be later on in the race. With everyone's so congested right now, he's going to go all the way to the back. Here's Evans on the radio.
Obviously they're just getting the information, or passing the information rather on to Alex Cox, and that was more saying, I think he's probably suggesting that maybe they're using a little bit too much energy and not on the right strategy, maybe the frustrations as to what Dan Tickton was having yesterday. Dan Tickton, speaking of which, has just found his way up into third position, past Felipe Drugovich as they head up the hill towards Massenet, the long left-hander, before they enter Casino Square and start dropping back down the hill. And then Mortara remains in second. It is Mitch Evans, your race leader, ahead of Mortara, Tickton, Drugovich, then Jean-Eric Verne top 5. 12 laps left to go in the Monaco E-Prix. And percentage-wise on energy, still the best in the top 10 is the Nissan of Ollie Rowland. He is about 3%. That is about a lap's worth of energy, better than anyone else. Evans on the radio once more.
Well, I mean, if you can do that, that is perfect. They want to hold position and under-consume on energy, so they want to save while leading, and that is certainly what they're going to do. It's not going to be done, though. Down in towards the Nouvelle Chicane, we're going to see Mortara go through. Tickton on attack mode is probably going to come through as well, up towards Tabac. As he blocks it off, though, it's going to be second position to the outside. Tickton goes, tries to hold on to the back of Mortara. Evans, after that message, has dropped 2 positions.
Tickton's attack mode runs out. He's in second spot at the moment after getting through on Mitch Evans. Felipe Drugovich, there was someone skipping over in the background. It was Taylor Barnard who skipped over the second part of the swimming pool section. There's into the barrier. That is Nico Muller, who's just gone out wide, going through Larascas, and he's gone to the barrier now, side by side with his teammate again. They made contact in the penultimate corner yesterday. This time, I think they're going to come through it all right. But Nico Muller, a fairly disastrous lap thus far. He's dropped down now into 15th position, and Porsche in their 100th race. But this has kind of been a bit of a bogey track for them. They've never won on the streets of Monaco, and they're not going to be winning here. Sebastian Buemi also might have a bit of an issue up the hill. I think he's got a rear right puncture on his Envision.
Oh, as Mortara finally takes his attack mode, he's going to go 4 minutes in this first time. That's going to lose the lead, so Dan Tickton from pole gets back to the front. But what timing there for Mortara. The issue is everyone is all stacked up behind. We have some quite big gaps, as you say, though, in terms of energy. Ronan 3% more than Jev in that 5th position. So it's definitely going to be an interesting part in his next few laps, because now we're going to see, is he going to be able to use that energy to jump back up towards the front?
I mean, he's going to have to at the moment. I'm still trying to struggle to see. There's a bit of front wing damage as well. There's something that's come on from Jean-Eric Verne, rather 5th position for the Citroën driver. There's certain drivers that are getting into the walls a little bit as everything's starting to pack up here at the Monaco street circuit, and unfortunately for Jean-Eric Verne, still searching for his first victory in over 3 years. He's got some front wing damage. He's made contact with someone going through the tunnel, and now he's going to be passed by the world champion Ollie Rowland. It's Rowland now moving up into 6th position as Jean-Eric Verne's dropping down the order ever so slightly. Edo Mortara continues to lead. Dan Tickton in second, then it's Drugovich, then it's Da Costa, and then it is Evans. We've got 10 laps left to go. A yellow flag has just been deployed at the penultimate corner, as I'm sure there's more drama. Pepe Marti and Nick Cassidy are dropping down the order. I think there's been an incident between the pair of those, and they certainly are stationary at the penultimate corner of the track. Pepe Marti fresh off of his first podium in the FIA Formula E World Championship. The pair of them are stationary, but I think they're able to reverse it out of the wall, and hopefully will avoid a safety car. This has been a chaotic lap, Cam.
And Cassidy's on the attack mode, and he's wasting his time by trying to get back going, let alone the time that he's obviously losing just by the fact of being in the wall. He didn't look like too much damage, though. I think they were able to stop. They just got a little bit too tight on the outside line. Buemi's come down pit lane with the damage that he's got, but it's definitely a way more chaotic race than what we saw yesterday. There's so many cars with damage out there. 3-time penalties already, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come before the end of this race.
There was a round a few rounds ago. It was coming into Madrid where the drivers said that they weren't too happy with race control and how sometimes they're getting a little bit too involved. They sent a letter off to the FIA and all this rubbish. There was a lot going on behind the scenes, a lot of talk between all the drivers, right? I think that the race control have been like, yeah, sure, we've given 3 penalties here, but they're kind of just letting them have at it a little bit, which is, fair enough. But there has been some chaos.
3, 2, 1, full course yellow, please.
And there we go. As expected, Marek Hanaszewski jumps on the radio and will pass off a full course yellow. That means that all the drivers will be going around the circuit on the pit limiter, as there was the incident down at the final corner between Pepe Marti and Nick Cassidy. What happened, Cameron Roger?
So Pepe Marti was actually the car on the inside, and it's going to be Cassidy on the outside. Cassidy at the time was on the attack mode, Marti on the inside, but then he just gets stuck, it looks like, against the barrier. I have to get another look. So it's going to be Cassidy comes to the left-hand side in towards Raskas. Side by side, they go in towards the braking zone. It's all good, it's all good. Then it just gets slightly tagged on the front wheel. Pepe Marti then, Cassidy clapping Marti there after the overtake attempt in some sarcasm. Marti's looking good. He misses the apex a little bit, and then he obviously just can't get the car back going again because he's still stuck stationary, even though Cassidy is back out on the track.
Yeah, I kind of feel it might be a little bit harsh there from Cassidy. He obviously did turn in quite aggressively onto Pepe Marti there. He was a rookie in the championship. Yes, he's had his first podium, fair enough. But he did turn in relatively aggressively. But then, like you say, Pepe Marti was away from the apex, which is normally the deciding factor. It's not great for Ede Mortara, whose attack mode is running out for Ede Mortara, for Zane Maloney, for Degrassi, and for Cassidy. Those 4 drivers all in attack mode at the moment. And so really, it's an attack mode that's been, relatively speaking, wasted as the Citroen of Jean-Eric Verne comes into pit lane to replace the front wing. The reason why I say wasted, they don't get that time added back onto their attack mode. They just lose that time of attack mode as it ticks away. Painful seconds for some of the teams of drivers. Here's Marek Hanaszewski.
Full course yellow ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag, please.
And we are back racing on the streets of Monte Carlo. Straight into attack mode comes Antonio Felix da Costa, your race leader. He's taken 2 minutes of his attack mode. That is his second usage of attack mode, and drops back down into second position after the disappointment of missing out on the podium yesterday after the incident between himself and Dan Tickton. He is right on the rear end of Ede Mortara as a 10-second post-race time penalty. So Antonio Felix da Costa is your de facto race leader.
He's looking very good. Mortara still needs to take the attack mode as well. Obviously, as you said, he's got 10-second penalty, but just in terms of where we are track position-wise, he needs to take the attack mode, but this is the attack mode for da Costa now. Goes to the outside, and there he goes, in towards the Nouvelle chicane, back to the race lead. Mortara down to second place. They've got a bit of a gap of a good 3 seconds now to Tickton in third place after that full-course yellow sequence, so that has worked out really well for these 2 drivers. I think we may avoid the added lap as well if that is the only full course yellow situation, so that is going to be very good for him. He's got this now big gap, this big track position, and it looks like the energy numbers are going to be even better because they were able to save under the full course yellow.
But 3 or 4% better on energy is Ollie Rowland in 5th position. Now he's just gone into 6 minutes of attack mode. That is his second use of attack mode. He's running in 5th. He's 5 seconds off the race lead, but he will be flying at the moment. He has more energy to play with, more that he can use in that attack mode. So we'll see how far Ollie Rowland can work out on this field. We've completed 20 laps. We have 8 left to go. It's Antonio Felix da Costa leading the race from Ede Mortara. Felipe Drugovic runs in 3rd. Ollie Rowland up to 4th position. Dan Tickton for Cooper Kiro in 5th. Starting from pole position, dropping down into 5th position. It's Mitch Evans in 6th. Then it's Taylor Barnard, Jake Dennis, Max Gunther, Nico Muller and Zane Maloney. Lucas Degrassi runs in 12th with Ericsson in 13th. Nick De Vries in 14th position with Pascal Verlon in 15th. Jean-Eric Verne, Sebastian Buemi and Nick Cassidy the top 18, and the ones currently running out on the circuit is Pepe Marti and Norman Nato are both out of the race. 3 post-race time penalties go the way. 10 seconds for Ede Mortara in 2nd. 7th, Taylor Barnard will also have 10 seconds post-race, and Max Gunther in 9th will have 5 seconds of post-race time penalty added on.
I think what you're saying is good about Roland as well. He's now up into third position. He's still got 4 minutes of the attack mode, and he's going to be looking very strong. The issue is he's 4 seconds off the lead, but that will be coming down now that he has the longest attack mode, and he has longer, therefore, with the most percentage, so he can push even more to the end of this race. It's a really tight battle inside the top 10. In behind, though, Evans holding up Tickton, Bernard, and Dennis, etc. But we are under investigation with Tickton for overspeed as well. So is he going to get 2 penalties in 2 days?
That's an overspeed under full course yellow. Now that's similar to like speeding in the pit lane. That is generally speaking a black and white. You were either speeding or you weren't. You know, there's no arguing in that one. If you were over the speed limit going into the full course yellow, then it will be a penalty. Here's Evans on the radio.
All cars ahead are in their second attack, so we just hit targets for now. We hit targets for now.
Still confident that in the race. Alan Cox passing on the information to Mitch Evans, who sits in 5th position of the race. In attack mode, Ollie Rowland closing down on those race leaders. Now sits just a second off the back of Edo Mortara after sending the fastest lap of the race. A 29.0 for Ollie Rowland. Antonio Felix da Costa, your race leader, 2.4 seconds slower on the previous lap. The 3.3 kilometres of the Monaco street circuit. Antonio Felix da Costa sits the race lead, but only by 7/10 over a drive with a 10-second post-race time penalty. I like Edo Mortara, but I wouldn't mind it too much if he would take a hop, skip and a jump out of this battle, because I want to see Rowland versus da Costa on the tight and twisty streets here of Monaco.
And on the previous lap, Rowland was 2.5 seconds quicker than da Costa. He's caught right up to the back of the mist. 3-car lead now. He's 5 seconds off a couple of laps ago, but with 2.5 seconds, 2 laps, there you go, 5 seconds, job done. Now Mortara is actually defending through the swimming pool sequence. Rowland is going to need to try and get past him. Mortara is actually on the attack mode, but he's choosing not to use that extra power. He's trying to save to the outside of Raskas. Rowland goes, but not enough to get through. And of course, Drugovic, therefore, is catching up. It's going to be a 4-way fight for the lead as we come to start lap 23 of 25. 6 laps remaining, including this one, as Mortara goes to the lead across the line. Da Costa down into 2nd place, and now Rowland needs to get past da Costa up the hill, which he will do, and that is going to be a lead for Mortara, then Rowland, then da Costa in 3rd place. It's a 10-second time penalty again for Bernard. That's an extra penalty for him.
Yeah, that's not good for Taylor Barlow. Up to 20 seconds worth of post-race time penalty. Can confirm the DS Penske driver who scored his first points at a Monaco event, despite making his debut here a couple of years ago, and struggling a little bit last year, struggling a little bit this year, and yeah, it's not going to be looking so good. So Ollie Rowland is your de facto race leader, as you were saying there. Edo Mortara is the race leader with a 10-second post-race time penalty. Felipe Drugovic, by the way, is sitting in 4th position. That'll become 3rd. He's going to get his first podium if he's going to keep this up. He is well in contention for this victory for the Andretti team. Can he steal one away from 2 of the very best at this level? As Ollie Rowland will now find his way through into the Nivelle chicane. Down the inside of Edo Mortara is Ollie Rowland into the race lead.
And he's got 30 seconds more of the attack mode than Mortara, so even if Mortara chases him down, he's going to have 30 seconds to pull away. So this is looking really, really good for Ollie Rowland, especially the fact that he's got that little bit more energy, although it has come down. He's only got 1% more now. It's not the 3% that we saw a couple of laps ago. He had to use those extra couple of percentage points to be able to catch up, and now he's got 5 laps to lead this race to the end in what has been a difficult season for him. He's not been quite as in contention as he would have wanted. He is 4th place in the championship, but he has not got a race win to his name. He's got 2 second places, 2 third places. This would be his first win of the season, therefore. And down in towards the Nivelle chicane on this previous lap was how he did it. A nice clean move on Edo Mortara. Edo's still doing a great job, considering he has that penalty to come to his name. They have used all their second attack mode, so this is a straight fight to the end for the top 4.
It's a brilliant move from Rowland, who's again taking control. He won around the streets of Monte Carlo last season on his way to winning his first World Championship. It's not been the greatest start to this season. He's actually kind of running what Taylor Barnard was running last season, where his only points have come from podium finishes. Well, if that podium finish is going to be to the top step, I'm sure he'll be pretty happy. Ollie Rowland was having a good chat with Lando Norris before on the starting grid, and I'm sure that was a very interesting conversation. Yellow flag's just come out at turn 13. Not sure as to what's going on. That's going through the swimming pool section. I'm going to assume that's for debris. At the moment, we've got 4.5 laps left to go of this Monaco E-Prix, with Ollie Rowland leading from Mortara and Drugovic.
But that turn 13 is right where the leaders are coming through now. That has been removed, though. We're back to green flag racing, so should be all okay. Maybe chaotic themselves for the final few moves of this race. Evans is holding up Bernard, and Dennis, that's repeat 5, 6 and 7. Gunter's coming behind them though on the or TickTum I should say, is coming behind them on the attack mode and is now a four-way fight for 5th position.
See how that yellow flag plays out in the swimming pool section. It's just been cleared up by our race marshal, so they're all good to race through there. And trust me, those are overtaking opportunities for all of our drivers this afternoon. Felipe Drugovich in contention for his first victory in his debut full-time season in the AWFA Formula E World Championship. Just 4 laps remain with Ollie Rowland as our race leader. We've received a 5-second time penalty for overspeeding on the full course yellow. That has gone to Dan TickTum, who sits in 8th position. He's got attack mode at the moment. It'll be a disappointing weekend for the Cupra team. I'm sure they'll be happy with Pepe Marti's podium yesterday, and of course the 6 points that Dan TickTum's got for a double pole. But I'm sure big disappointment for the Cupra squad, who have come in with a fresh livery on the car for the Masters of the Universe film. But yeah, not masters of anything around here at Monaco.
No, they may be disappointed with the results, but they should at least be happy with the speed, because Pepe Marti is doing a really good job this weekend as well, even though he obviously got the little bit of an issue there with Nick Cassidy. Jake Dennis had quite a few issues a little while ago down in towards the hairpin. That made some contact with Dan TickTum in the end, but nothing too much to come for that. John Eric Verne also got a black and white flag for driving standards. That's just a warning, no penalty, but definitely a warning, as there's too many cars coming in towards Raskas. We've got about 8 cars all trying to fight for the final couple of points.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly who's in this. Nick De Vries hasn't got a front wing in all of it. It's towards the back end of the top 10. It's around where we've got Dan TickTum, then it's Jake Dennis, Gunther, Muller, De Vries, De Grassi, Ericsson, Maloney. That's all from 8th on down. There is damage on pretty much every single car in this battle, of which the Andretti of Jake Dennis is now at the head of. They head their way up the hill. More contact between them as the Porsche is trying to get itself involved with Nico Muller. Into the rear end, you've got DS Penske of Max Gunther trying to hold his way up. This is all from 8th on back. It is absolute chaos towards the back end of the top 10. There is debris everywhere around this Monaco street circuit, courtesy of the absolute chaos that's being picked up from that lot. Ahead of all that, there's still that battle for further up the order. There's still the battle for the race lead. There's still the battle for some of those that are trying to vie for those final podium positions. And into the barrier, Taylor Barnard with 2 laps left to go. Taylor Barnard will be out at Portier. He's slapped it into the wall on the left-hand side as they're coming out and towards the tunnel, and he will be out for DS Penske. He wasn't going to be scoring points anyway.
Considering that the way that his steering wheel is, I think he's been hit on that rear right. This has surely got to be a safety car. We've just been declared no added laps, so this is just going to help everyone in the final couple of laps of this race, because they will basically be able to save the energy and then have no added laps to need to use those. De Vries has no front wing out there, nor does Pascal Wehrlein just on the back of this battle. There's been so much contact here today. We have not got a safety car or anything just yet as we go on to that 27 or 28, but I think they're waiting for everyone to come back.
In 3, 2, 1, full course yellow, please.
Full course yellow from Marek Hanaszewski. Race director calls that one, so it's going to neutralise this race. Everyone drops down to what is effectively pit road speed. It is Ollie Rowland leading the race from Edo Mortara on the 10-second post-race time penalty. It's then Felipe Drugovich, Antonio Felix da Costa, Mitch Evans in 5th position, Jake Dennis in 6th, Nico Muller, Joel Eriksson, Nick De Vries and Max Gunther, the top 10. Cam Roger riding on board with Taylor Barnard, but what actually happened coming down into Portier?
Wow, he did a big send to the inside. You don't always see that on Da Costa, or Evans I think it was actually. You don't always see a big send. He was to the left-hand side. The Jaguar was in the middle.
Ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag.
Back to green flag racing we go with a lap and a half. You don't always see that. He went from the left to the right, a big send down the inside, and basically just missed the apex and went into the barrier himself. But what that leaves is Roland Mortara, Drugovich and Da Costa with a sort of a 4-car lead at the front. Then there's an 8-second gap to Evans, who's really dropped off. It's just 4 cars for the lead. Here's TickTum on the radio.
So we've got also 5-second penalty over speed of the full course yellow. Okay. Yes.
Now, Obviously, I'm not a driver behind the car, so I don't know exactly what the situation is, but I do get the feeling if you were speeding, you were speeding. If you weren't, you weren't. So I don't know what he can be too frustrated at, but I think it's just been an angry afternoon for him. It's been a tough weekend for him to swallow when the car has been so fast, and they are walking away from both races with 0 points. You have to understand the frustration there. One more 3.3 kilometre run here around the Monaco street circuit. Ollie Rowland, your defending world champion, is your race leader, searching for his first victory with a #1 on the car. Eden Mortara sits in second behind, who has a 10-second post-race time penalty, and Felipe Drugovich, in just his 12th race in the ABFA Formula E World Championship, sits directly behind.
And what we're seeing with the gaps is Evans in 5th place is 11 seconds off the lead. So we might actually see Mortara still being able to get that 4th position. So he may miss out on the podium, but he still should get some decent points, which in the end, looking how the race was going in the mid-pack, I thought he was going to be basically dropping out of the points. So he's going to be absolutely loving this one. Rowland has a 7/10 of a second lead, though, and that is over Mortara. That's not including the fact that Drugovich needs to overtake both of them if he wants to win this race.
It's fantastic to see Ollie Rowland at the front, as we were seeing quite a lot last year. As we're seeing, Max Gunther's been under investigation for his overspeed on the full course jersey. He's probably going to get another 5-second post-race time penalty as well to add to it. But it's been a great race thus far. It's been very exciting, completely different to what we had yesterday, that must be said. Ollie Rowland is your race leader, and he's heading down into the final complex of corners. There's not long left to go, and there's not really any opportunities. Less so for Eden Mortara, who's kind of involved in it, but he can't really get involved because of the 10-second post-race.
I mean, he can try, but I don't know if it's actually going to help him, because he needs to be able to have the fastest way to the end, and battling with Rowland is not going to do that.
He's still going to be finishing, amazingly, in 5th position. Even though he's running second, even though he has a 10-second post-race time penalty, absolute scenes here. Ollie Rowland, though, has only got a couple more corners to tick off. He won around the streets of Monte Carlo on the way to the World Championship crown last year. He's going to win on the streets of Monte Carlo once again. Nissan worked their way to the top. It's a fantastic drive from 8th position as Ollie Rowland wins on the streets of Monte Carlo. His first win with the #1 on the car. Behind him, it's a debut podium for Andretti's Felipe Drugovich. Antonio Felix da Costa will find his way onto the podium, and the World Championship leader will finish in 4th.
What an amazing race that was at the back end of the top 10. Dennis, Muller, Ericsson, De Vries, De Grassi, Maloney, all of them in a line as we come across. So De Grassi will, for the 2nd race in a row, get points in 10th position. Maloney just missing out in 11th.
Very quickly, before we have to let the talkSPORT 2 listeners run away for Rugby League, Cam, what do you think of that race?
That was absolutely amazing at the front. Ollie Rowland just being so clinical at the front.
We're going to see if we're going to get Ollie Rowland's radio, but we're not going to, so we'll come back to that in a moment. Obviously, if you do want to listen to that, talkSPORT 2 listeners, you're going to be leaving us now to head over to Rugby League. But stay with us on the talkSPORT Driving YouTube channel and the Formula E app, and we'll hear from all of the drivers for the post-race podium. Still waiting to see if we can hear from Ollie Rowland as well. But Cam, really exciting race that. Really enjoyed that one. And again, we'll go through some of the post-race analysis. I'm sure, obviously, we're going to have so much over on social media, on talkSPORT, on the Formula E social media. There's been so much through that race. There has been so much debris left around this Monaco street circuit.
Yeah, it's a good thing, we've got Formula 1 in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a big clean-up operation to get the track ready for that, with all the bodywork that we're seeing out there. It's pretty remarkable, actually, how many penalties we saw after such a clean race yesterday, apart from Tictum on the final lap there, getting the penalty with Da Costa yesterday. Today, we had 3 penalties before we even got the first 10 laps or so of the race. Then we got the full course yellows, got 2 or 3 other drivers getting penalties for that. We had so many drivers without front wings coming to the end of this race. It really was quite a bit of a disaster out there. Even Ollie Rowland's got some damage on the front of his nose, we can see, so really difficult. Here's Ollie Rowland.
What have you done, mate? What have you done? What a masterclass!
I think, Cam, he's quite happy.
Yeah, he's quite happy.
Who says you can't pass around the streets of Monte Carlo? This is the 5th time in the last 7 Monaco E-Prix that a winner has come from the outside of the top 3. Absolute crazy scenes. I think it's the 6th time, isn't it, in a row where the winner's not come from pole position. Pole position is a bit of a bad omen around here. And of course, we've only had 1 winner from pole this entire season. That was Jake Dennis in the opening race.
Yeah, that is amazing. Of course, you get the 3 extra points for winning the duels and getting into the final and everything, but being there with the energy saving, just the strategy of the overtakes, not getting penalties as well, like we saw from a few drivers today. That is what you want to do. The winning move was down the inside on Edo Mortara, and in the end, he didn't need the penalty for Mortara. He got it on the track, and that is showing why he is the current reigning Formula E champion, and he's having a slow drive around, lapping up all the applause from the crowd after a very, very interesting race. Gunther did get a 5-second penalty in the end after that overspeeding, but again, if it's under investigation, it's going to be pretty clear-cut.
No, he got a 5-second post-race time penalty, did Gunther, so yeah, so it's already ticked off.
Yeah, boys. Well done. Deserve that. Good race, man. Well done, mate. Good race. Brilliant job. Drove that absolutely perfectly. Well done, mate. Well done. Finally, things are coming together.
And there you can hear Felipe Drugovic's race engineer, Andre Castillo, also Roger Griffiths, team manager of Andretti, dropping in there to have a chat. A superb performance from Felipe Drugovic. He is really stepping up. Bear in mind, Felipe Drugovic did not score a point until the second race of Berlin. So, I think he scored points last season in a couple of races that he did, but this season didn't score until 3 races ago. He's now scored in those 3 races consecutively. One of those has been a podium. You were even talking about how we were looking at some team standings, and you were mentioning it before we went live, that he's not really added too much to the team.
He has not, but now he is, and I guess it's one of those things where he's been out of the car for a little bit. Yes, he's done some endurance racing and whatnot, but this style of racing, he's been out of it for a little bit. He's getting back into it. We all know he's a Formula 2 champion. I mean, it was 4 years ago now, 2022. It was a little while ago, so he's really come to the front now. This is a high-level championship, and he's able to perform here. And he's at a team with Andretti. Of course, they're champions a couple of years ago. They got a great powertrain this season in the Porsche as well, which has been so dominant. So I think he's going to have a great second half of this season.
It's incredible to see that over the 10 races that we've had this season, Ollie Rowland has finished on the podium in 6 of them, and then the other 4, he hasn't even been inside the point. His best finish outside of that is 12. Just love seeing on my little sheet here. Love seeing the numbers of bronze, silver, and gold, and none of that green for being in the top 10. He doesn't fancy any of that. Just an incredible performance. That drive will put him second in the World Championship. 108 points, 20 behind Mitch Evans. Let's give him a shout out, up to 4th position in that race. 128 points. It's been a great weekend for Mitch Evans, 2nd and 4th.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch Evans, in the end, we didn't speak about him loads after the start of this race, first few laps. But in the end, to get 4th on the track, 20 points advantage is 25 for a race win. I mean, that is a big, 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 big step, and it really helps being consistent. And in the last 3 races, getting a 1st, 2nd, and 4th, when there's so many other people around him in the championship not scoring points at all during that run, that is certainly showing why he is going to be the championship contender. I mean, he's had a pretty consistent season. He's only finished outside of the points in 1 race.
We'll be getting an interview from our top 3 drivers from the race, and we should be hearing from them in just a moment's time to see. Here we go, Ollie Rowland with DC.
You did it again. Everyone was using energy in the beginning of that race. You were at 1.3 or 4% up. Used the attack mode beautifully and came across the line with just the right amount of energy. You're back in the winner's circle for the first time this season.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a while. It's been nearly a year since I was last stood on the top of the podium. But yeah, crazy race. I mean, some people decided to do some different stuff. Obviously kept a really high pace. It was really difficult, honestly, to keep discipline. I knew we had to get higher in targets, but staying disciplined and staying out of trouble, and that was the key today.
Yeah, I think you'll see when you see the replay of the race, as I mentioned, you had like 2-3% on the leading bunch. So was there a point in the race where the team are keeping you informed and you're going, I've got to stick to my strategy, but are we doing the right thing?
Of course, and you never know if there's a safety car, that'll bring the targets up. But I was pretty confident in what I was doing. The team kept me really well informed during the whole race, and yeah, I was confident, to be honest.
And you're up to 2nd in the drivers' table, very much in the hunt for retaining your title.
Yeah, I mean, we've been scrapping, I would say, the first half of the season, but we've stayed there. We just need to go away, work hard, improve a little bit in qualifying, and we'll be right there to the end of the year.
Well, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you very much.
And you know the team were giving him the right information, because if there's one person that will definitely tell you if the team weren't, it is Ollie Rowland. He's a very honest man.
Yeah, he certainly is. He is so raw in terms of his emotions out there on the track as well. You know, it comes from the heart, everything. He's a very passionate guy. You saw how happy he was on the team radio after the race. That is what we love to see. You know, you don't want these sort of robotic drivers. You want to have a bit of personality out there, and he's certainly one of them. That's why he's got the #1 on his machine as well.
Speaking of drivers that may well have a #1 on their car at some point in their storied career, it's Felipe Drugovich with David Coulthard.
Your first podium in your first season in Formula E in one of the most historic circuits on the calendar. You must be absolutely beaming inside.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a great thing to do here in this track, and yeah, I love this place, and I think every time I've been here I got a podium, so I just needed to keep it going, and what a place to get my first podium in Formula E. So yeah, really happy, and big thanks to the team that could cope with me for the first few rounds that I was not even close to the podium, and now we're doing great things. So yeah, big thanks to them, and yeah, God is great. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're the 5th Brazilian to get a podium. Congratulations, enjoy that moment.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Obviously, our first ever champion in the ABBFA Formula E World Championship was a Brazilian in the hands of Nelson Piquet. You were there in person. I wisely informed you were scrutineering some of the cars. Did you get anyone in trouble that day?
No, I don't believe we did, but yeah, I was fortunate to be at that very first London E-Prix back in 2015 now, 11 years ago, Battersea Park. Yeah, definitely a little while ago now, but what we are seeing with that is the history of Formula E work its way forward, and now we are writing some new stories, and these new younger drivers such as Drugovich, it's certainly great to have here in this championship, and I can't wait to see. Although here's Da Costa.
Podium in Formula E, but it looked like that was only going to be a dream after you spun around in the chicane.
I don't know whether to be happy or angry with the amount of times I've been hit from behind this season, and races have been taken away from us, and I couldn't believe it again. Lap 1, you know, people were just still taking it easy, I thought. And yeah, I got hit from behind, and I spun out, went, I don't know, all the way to the back, and you know, with a good strategy from the team and taking a lot of risk, as you can see from my car, I was able to make it back to the front, and then yeah, I have to review it, but I think the full course yellow came at a really good time for me, that first one, and then just managing energy to the end. Congrats to these guys. Amazing race. I'm happy to be on the podium with them today after that lap 1 incident.
Yeah, when you say about all of the contact, we can see pretty much every corner of your car has the witness marks of a really close Formula E race.
Yeah, touched a few walls, touched a few guys, but when you're in, it looks like World War III back there. So you have to go for it, and yeah, happy to make it back to the front.
And a little bit of redemption from yesterday's result. So go and enjoy that podium.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had a great chat with Antonio Felix da Costa in Marseille at Circuit Paul Ricard yesterday, and he is such a nice guy. Get that one from there. He's such an honest guy as well. And in all that, I actually, do you know what? I completely forgot he was backwards at like lap 2. Still managed to work his way through onto the podium. Incredible.
Amazing, to be honest, and it was, I guess there's actually kind of redemption. That's what the penalty is there for. He got hit by Mortara, then he got on the podium because Mortara then served his penalty. So I guess the penalty actually did his job, which is what we love to see. Big shame that he was wasn't able to really show his face at the front, but maybe it actually helped his race in some ways, because fighting at the front isn't always what you want to do. We saw the likes of Dan Ticktum as well dropping back after being up there towards the front. Sometimes you do want to be a bit further back. You know, Rowland, I mean, he was no way near close until about halfway in the race, where he started on that second attack mode, working his way forward.
Well, as much as we won't be racing for another month's time when we go to Sanya, let's remind you of the running order here at Monaco. It's Ollie Rowland winning from Felipe Drugovich and Antonio Felix da Costa. It's Evans, it's Mortara, it's Dennis, Muller, Ericsson, De Vries and De Grassi, the top 10. Zane Maloney would finish in 11th behind. Then it's Pascal Wehrlein, who came into this as the World Championship leader. No points from Monaco. 12th position in the race for him. Max Gunther in 13th, Dan Ticktum in 14th, with Taylor Barnard, John-Eric Verne, Sebastian Buemi, Nick Cassidy in 18th. 2 retirements in Pepe Marti and Norman Nato. Your World Championship leader leaving the streets of Monte Carlo. It's Mitch Evans ahead of Ollie Rowland by 20 points. Edo Mortara in 3rd. And we will be back racing on the 20th of June at Sanya. That race should be on at 8 a.m. of course across the talkSPORT network, on talkSPORT 2, and of course on the Formula E app. You can follow us on the talkSPORT Instagram as well for all updates on all things sport, as well as here for the Formula E socials. And of course you can join us on the talkSPORT Driving YouTube channel, where these races are broadcast all the way through the season, and you can get loads of updates from podcasts to obviously all of our shorts from all these races. There's so much excitement to keep up on track of. There is still 7 races rather left to go for the ABB Formula E World Championship. From myself, Lewis McGlade, from Cameron Roger, we will see you when we go racing at the return of the Sanya E-Prix. Until then, thank you so much, have a great weekend, and have a very warm goodbye.